4, 3, 2, 1, 0. I hear voices in my head, they counsel me, they understand, they talk to me. Ooga chaka, ooga, ooga, ooga chaka. Phenomena. Tiptoe through the tulips with me.
You are about to experience the awe and mystery which reaches from the inner mind to
This one's explosive.
Time to air the scare with theories and queries that make you leery of eerie, all while raising the bar of bizarre. So stay right where you are.
This is Talk Supernatural Radio, where we are bringing gritty supernatural 411 from the U.S. to the U.K., up north to down under, Rhode Island, Easter Island, from the outback to your front door. And if you're listening, you are right where you're supposed to be.
The views and opinions and personalities expressed on this show are those solely of TSR and do represent who we are and what we believe. If you don't like satire, if you find rabbit trailing annoying, if you don't like to laugh, if you can't handle the truth, do not listen to this show. We are not responsible for your nightmares, denial issues, bleeding ears, or annoyance.
And if that's cool with you, well then, let's go. We are Scott and Heidi Linden, supernatural investigators, casting the light of truth and the darkness of deceit to give you a better glimpse into reality. We've got news, facts, experiences, and stories with laughs and words to live right by.
Tonight, we are going to be talking about
behavioral modification,
a.k.a. mind control, from Hitler to HAARP. We're going to present some facts to you guys in a little bit of a timeline, maybe some new stories, evidence, and perspectives to stir up that dirt that may make them relevant and interesting again. But we do have a couple listener emails and comments that I wanted to read this week. We had got so many when we were gone for that little 3-week hiatus, so thought, why not read a couple?
Sure.
All right.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
Let's go.
One is, this one's from Rosa in Texas. It says, gotta give props to you. Y'all have some interesting shows. I never know what to expect. Love them all. My boyfriend was never into spirituality until he heard your episode on kids and the paranormal. Now he listens with me every Friday and got his brother downloading you too. He gets it now. You give us lots to talk and drink about. When Scott does impressions, it's shot time. Love. Rosa Portillo in Corpus Christi, Texas.
Corpus Christi.
Okay. So we give them stuff to drink about. We must really traumatize
Maybe
them.
they're thirsty.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. They're drinking shots of iced tea.
Of course.
Oh, what am I thinking?
What else would you? There's ice cubes. There's Kool-Aid. There's milk. There's, what do I got here? I've got clear American ice peach nectar. But 0 calories.
Well, there you go. See? They
and
can have
2% natural flavors. No.
Are you doing a commercial?
No, I'm not.
All right, I'll read this one. Keep up the good broadcast, Lindens. Your, and then in quotes, a little bit of pod everything, unquote, works. Yes, even dig the rabbit trails. We haven't heard you give a shout out in a while. Now would be a good time. Hint, hint. We download on iTunes and listen every Saturday morning at the beach. Thanks for making us laugh and learn Supernatural 101. Kyle, Uriah, Shane, and Kelly in Daytona, Florida.
Daytona. Well, we knew they were in Wisconsin if you're going down to the beach
yeah.
every weekend. It's like, not up here you don't.
So what's up, Kyle, Uriah, Shane, and Kelly in Daytona? Hey!
Hey!
If you want to read the next one.
Hey, TSR. Love your show. Duh. Heidi and Scott are great. Yeah. Oh, and I'm a new listener and have to go back to the past episodes to catch up, but want to keep up with the current shows too, so you're going to be busy. Understood. Maybe I missed it, but can you tell me more about the host? Well, Scott's fantastic. They're so fun and have a lot of great information, And what do? Their paranormal survivor episode on Destination America was flippin' solid. Yeah. Ooh, all the way from Canada. This is Daniel. Help me with that last name. Bouchon from Quebec, Canada.
All right.
Yeah. Hey.
Hey. Okay, what about us?
I don't know.
We're considered supernatural investigators, not paranormal investigators. Because we deal with the spiritual aspects of hauntings and...
the spiritual aspects of the
Not
haunting.
aspects. No, we don't deal with the aspects.
Aspects. I don't know.
Well, because paranormal has to deal with ghosts and stuff.
Well, we're a pair of normals.
We're not normal
We
at all.
identified that a long time ago. We are a pair of normals.
We're not normal whatsoever, so we're not a pair of that at all.
Yeah.
But you know how paranormal investigators they deal with the ghosts. They want EVPs and they want pictures and stuff. We focus on people.
Yeah, we focus on helping people and
we don't care about the dead. We
doing
care about
something
the living.
about the problem, not just saying there is a problem. Because most people that call you in to say that they have a problem, they already know they have one. And there are a percentage of people who just want to say, yeah, I got a ghost, yay. And others are saying, okay, I'm freaked out, I live here, I'd like to do something about it.
Right.
And what's caused this, what can I do about it? And that's where, not only we help them, but we might even take them a little further into some spiritual awakening for them.
Yeah.
Biblically and stuff like that.
Because we're not like a Band-Aid. We don't do a quick fix. We want long-term goals for that. We want people to...
I do the quick fix every day. That's right. Your toilet's plugged. Just give you another one.
Scott's a home contractor, and I do this work at home full-time, too. And I'm also a writer, so that's what we do.
Yeah.
We've been doing it for
75 years.
15 years together. And then I was doing it before Scott, so...
I don't know what you were doing before me.
Yeah, I was a little cray, but at least I was...
a little.
I was into this stuff.
Anybody who's read your book or heard some of these stories or listened to some of these podcasts are like, yeah, a little.
And we have an online resource site, SWAT Resource Center, too. SWAT. We help people with spiritual oppression. You can always check us out on EPH612SWAT.com. So, I don't know. That's about us. So... But thanks for the emails.
Thank you.
Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true. You're a pal and a confidant.
All right, so before we get into tonight's topic, we're going to do a little bit of some odd random news. And
Odd? Our
always,
podcast having something odd on it?
I know.
Interesting. Headlines.
All right, so this story was interesting. Africanized bee attack. A swarm of bees killed 2 dogs and injured the dog's owner in a frenzied attack, which was really sad because I'm a huge dog lover. James Roy of Midland went outside to check on his dogs because he heard the ruckus and thought that they were fighting. But they were in fact being attacked by a swarm of killer bees. The 2 dogs, Susie and Sammy, were stung more than 1,000 times. The swarm then attacked James and chased him as he ran for help. The bees ultimately stung him more than 50 times.
Lucky to be alive, too.
I know, it's crazy.
Because these particular bees can just keep stinging and stinging and stinging and stinging.
Right,
and stinging.
yeah, they just keep going.
And they're just so useless to us, too. They don't even produce things we can use, yeah.
Well, the killer bees are actually Africanized honeybees. They descend from South African bees, and they were imported to the U.S. in 1956. Brazilian scientists were trying to breed the honeybee so that it could adapt better to the South American climate. And I'm thinking, I hate when I understand they're trying to help, but just leave it alone. God didn't make mistakes.
Yeah.
Everything's where it's supposed to be. Stop trying to intermingle and do all its crazy stuff. And now we've got a problem, of course.
Yeah, and the bees. And this is not a new story as far as the killer bees. They've been around since 1956, and we've heard about them slowly migrating north for a long, long time, and eventually.
When I was a little girl, not little, but like maybe like grade school, do you remember, I don't know if you guys had this, but like in science class, we would get these really thin, like 5-page magazines where we'd have to read them and talk about current events and everything?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and then one of them, I remember they talked about killer bees, and I was like, and I already had this complete fear of bees. Even as Scott, I would freak out to the point where I'd hyperventilate.
Well, you're actually allergic to them, too.
Yeah.
So
I was attacked by wasps when I was like 8 years old, and ever since then, I stepped on a mud wasp thing, and they freaked me out. And ever since then, and then I found out I was allergic, so now I have this fear. But anyways, so in this magazine, they showed a map of the United States and where the killer bees were, and there were like 3 spots in the entire U.S. at that time, and this is back probably late 70s. And I was freaking out about that. Now they're like everywhere.
Yeah.
So
Well, slowly, especially when you have like an El Nino winter and stuff, they just keep moving north.
oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, these particular bees are super sensitive to noise and vibrations, and their venom isn't more potent than honeybees, but they attack in far greater numbers. And like you said, they don't die. So
they call on their friends.
they do die eventually, but
they call on their friends big time.
So they all attack, and that's what makes their sting such a threat.
And you're right about the being very sensitive to noise and vibration. You could just be walking through the woods and maybe swishing a stick. You don't even have to really be that close to them.
They just know.
They hear you. They sense your vibration. You're pounding on the ground. You're stomping. I don't know. Whatever you're doing, they will come and defend. Even if you're not all that close.
Yeah, well, we can cast out demons,
It only
but
takes
give me a couple
one
of bees
them,
and I
you tick
freak
off
out.
one of them, and they feel threatened, and they send out the army.
Great.
Yeah.
I hate bees. Ugh. Okay, next story. I was just telling Scott about this tonight. Check your couches, pockets, and wallets for loose change, because there are quarters right now that are worth thousands of dollars. There was a misprint on the 1970 quarter. It's made them very valuable. These coins were printed over a 1941 Canadian quarter. It's not clear how many coins are actually out there with this mistake, but you'll see a 1941 marking above the word dollar on the back of the coin. It's almost impossible to see, so you got to look really closely. And they are going for over $35,000 on eBay. I mean, a lot of people
will be checking our quarters.
You bet I will. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna be.
You got nothing to lose by checking them, and now's the time. Just so every
and 1970 quarters are pretty common.
Yeah.
Wow, that's wild.
So any quarter you find, if it's 1970, you want to start staring at it.
That's so cool. We're gonna be rich. I'm gonna get a big microphone for my podcast. Next story is Zika at Disney World. Zika. I hate this whole Zika virus. Mickey Mouse and fairy tale princesses aren't the only things you're going to be seeing at Disney World this year. According to experts, the popular vacation spot will soon be hosting Zika-carrying mosquitoes. A lot of people have been talking about because the Olympics are going to be held in Rio, and so everybody's freaking out. But the thing is, they're like saying that really don't have anything to worry about because in Rio, because that's where obviously the Zika thing came from Brazil, that's their winter. So all their mosquitoes are dying at that time. So you're not going to worry. But you come to the States where it's going to be hot, now you got a problem. Professor Jimmy Whitworth of the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine is warning families to avoid the southern U.S. for the next few months. The Zika virus hasn't reached Florida, Texas, or Louisiana yet, but the rising summer temperatures provide the perfect conditions for the infected viral insects to quickly spread across the state.
Of course, people go down south
for vacation.
And they vacation, and they come back home, and then
they bring them here, and
so on and so forth. So
I've seen movies like that. It's got to spread real quick.
Yep. It started with a monkey once.
The primary mosquito that can transmit Zika virus is found in parts of the southern eastern areas. And the popular vacay spot, Disney World, is a breeding ground for these blood-feeding disease-carrying bugs.
Mm-hmm.
It's...
Do you know of any bug that is just more nasty than the mosquito?
Oh, yeah, no, there are. The fly?
Well, no, I'm
talking
about one that carries so much disease.
Well, don't flies carry disease?
No, not like the mosquito.
No?
I mean, you can catch, no matter where you go in the world, you can get something from a stupid mosquito.
Yeah, I guess that's true. This, if you guys listen to some past broadcasts, this whole Zika thing was instituted by our government, by our government and stuff. They say it was a mistake,
It's
and some say no.
Oops,
And
we made a disease and it got out. Oh, it happens.
just take cover. It's okay. And then they say nothing to worry about, and then it
people
spreads.
are dying. Huh, interesting.
Then the CDC says, "Oh well, you know what? It is a little worse than we thought." And it just keeps changing. So
Yeah, it's always something.
Yeah. Okay, so
All right.
now
So much for that.
into our topic tonight. You know, I was fasting from the internet, so I did all this research by book and by news, listening to the actual news, not online or nothing.
Sick.
I know.
The internet knows everything.
Nope. Heidi knows everything now because I did a lot of research for this. Okay, so when I was a kid, my parents had this really thick book. Now we're talking 70s, and lots happened since the 70s.
People used to be able to read.
People read books. They had this book, and I can't think of the name of it, but it was like Amazing Mysteries in the Universe or something. And it had all these
What
different
if we
things.
actually read more now?
Oh, yeah.
And not realizing it.
We probably read more often, but not more
as
in
much.
content.
Okay, because of the internet and because of phones.
We can
and
read
because of
less.
things.
We'll read like 1 or 2 lines, and we know it all.
I'm just wondering if that's...
People
I
watch
wonder
a
if
lot of
that's kind
videos.
Yeah.
I think we read more often.
My information is so much more accessible now.
Yeah. I don't like to read. I like books. I like print, but I don't like to read. But if I do, I prefer books. So, but this book was so awesome because it had all these really interesting stories. Now, back in the 70s, one of the stories I read about and I was in awe was the Northern Lights. And back then, they didn't know what they were. Now we know what they are, and the Aureola, Borealis, and all that stuff. Another story in that book that I loved was the whole Shroud of Turin with the Jesus and the cloth. And that was cool. And then I can't think of, we actually did a story on it episodes ago, about those faces. I think it was in, I want to say Brazil or something, where they were showing up in the tiles.
Oh.
And that proved to be a hoax. But back in the 70s, these were huge mysteries. So I was thinking about, the different things that in history that have been mysteries. And it always seems to lead back to present time. So then I was like, well, let's talk about some... Well, did you ever have a mystery that you thought was cool as a kid?
Nope.
No? You never cared
Never
about
seen
that
anything
stuff?
that was cool, unless I did it.
No. You are a mystery. What about Marilyn Monroe's death? That's a mystery. We don't know what happened to her.
She died.
She died, but how?
Stop breathing.
Oh my God, you solved it! Wow, we're going to have the
Usually
first
does
year
it.
anyway.
There are plenty of historical events that are just as mysterious. God made sure nature always ends up explaining itself, but man's doings are always confusing.
Yeah, we always mess stuff up. So
Yeah, we do.
the Freedom of Information Act has made it possible for the public to read files on cases, criminal or otherwise. Right?
I am somewhat fascinated about how they open up a case that's been, let's say, a murder case or something that's been closed for 30 years or 40 years, and they open it up and they somehow find new evidence. It's like, what?
Well, because they didn't have DNA back then.
Yeah, but it's weird because I hear so much contradiction with DNA. I hear that if DNA sits too long, it's no good. I hear, if it's this old or that old, or if it's been contaminated or this happens, it's no good. And you can't DNA this, you can't DNA that. And then yet all they can say, through DNA. It's like, well, how can I hear it on one clip or one movie thing or one something saying, if it gets so, it's not quite like TV. If it gets so old, you can't use it. And so, but yet now you can go to something that's this old and say, well, no, we opened it up and we found DNA. It's like, really?
I think it has to do with the experts. Like, you've got some experts. You could have the same person on trial, and you've got experts with the same amount of degrees and experience for the prosecution, and you've got the same for the defense. And who do you believe? They both have their credibilities. It's just a matter of opinion. So I think that's where it draws the line.
Fascinating.
Well, with the whole criminal cases, the Freedom of Information Act, I think, was sort of made to shut us up.
So, or at least they're put in place to appease people, letting them think they're reading something top secret.
Yeah, like they made it up.
Yeah.
Like you get those files and then half of the stuff's blacked out to make you think, there was something in there.
Dun, dun, dun.
And there could have been, but I highly doubt it. You never know.
Dun. Unproven plots and conspiracy paranoia have been part of our society forever.
Well, the theories don't go without reason, because many have become true.
It's a conspiracy, man.
Several have been true, but several have not. The ones that have are enough to substantiate the validity of conspiracy itself. So, if you're a conspiracy theorist, you're not looked down upon as much as you used to be.
No, because they have found some levels of truth to it. Now, not everything's, even the Bible warns us of,
Right.
not everything is a conspiracy,
Right.
but didn't say that there wasn't some.
Right, yeah.
And there is quite a few, and there's just a lot of cover-ups and a lot of...
And a lot of it's tied in together. So instead of having 20 conspiracies, it's really only one.
One
which is
conspiracy
little,
with lots of little trails going out of it. So from alien cover-ups to the Illuminati, the false moon landing to the government-controlled super soldiers, there have been a lot of stories that crossed
Our tables so far.
Well, one thing for sure, cover-ups are just that, covered up. So don't expect secret societies and hidden agendas or concealed crime and control to be loosely filed away in a cabinet for anybody to stumble across.
Isn't it something, too?
Huh.
I always get... I think it was just something I heard on the news yesterday. I can't remember what it was, but it was... Oh, it's something you were reading about this thing. Or something about 20,000 pages of something where...
Yeah, that's in this.
Yeah, it's in this. I'm like... So, suddenly, 20,000 pages of something was uncovered, 100 years later or whatever. I'm like, oh, really? Just... Oh, yeah, by the way, I just happened to find 20,000... Not 2 pages, not 1 page, not a small book. 20,000 pages. That's a huge book.
Yeah.
And, we found this. I'm like, really? Come on. Really?
Yeah.
You accidentally misplaced 20,000 pages.
It could be.
Come on.
It could happen.
I don't... It's...
Wow.
Ah.
So I think sometimes mistakes are made, and then they find this stuff, and then they try to cover it up, and then there's times where they purposely let you think you have the information.
I mean, I don't know about you, but... Well... We don't really think like they do. But if you're doing something illegal and something wrong and something that's going to be covered up and you know it is, you probably wouldn't write it down at all.
I never understood that either. Why do you have
why write
a
it
paper
down?
trail?
Just do it.
Right, that doesn't make sense to me. And if they do, they're not
I'm
going to
going to
have
murder
it.
somebody and I'm going to set all the details and I'm going to put it away in this filing cabinet. No one's ever going to find it. Duh.
Well, what about in movies? Before they kill
Yeah.
you, they have to explain everything to you, how they did it, why they did it, what they're going to do to you,
just kill 'em.
and leaves them the whole time for them to be saved.
I don't get it.
Oh, well, I don't know. From Hitler to HAARP, there are some rather sketchy events. And we're going to get into how Hitler is actually connected to HAARP. Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
All right.
But it's all connected, like you kind of said.
So let's start with Hitler's death. April 30th, 1945. Berlin's bombed, and Adolf Hitler is hiding in a bunker with his wife. Then we're told that the hitman took his own life. Or did he? Dun, dun, dun. So officially, it's stated that Hitler gave his wife Eva a cyanide pill, and then he shot himself in the head. But when the Soviets found him, he supposedly, they said, burned his body. He poured gasoline on him and burned his body, so you couldn't really see his body. But then I'm thinking, wait a minute. So how do you know he... Okay, so he shot himself in the head and then he burned himself?
Or did he burn himself and shoot himself in the head?
Yeah, I'm like, how does...
Can't do both.
So something's weird about that, So the Soviets say that Hitler's dentist confirmed it was Hitler's body through his dental
Hitler's
records.
dentist.
Right. Well, when are we going to trust
Not
the
somebody-
Soviets
yeah,
either?
right,
Who trusts the
right.
Soviets, especially
Exactly.
back then? So, but, okay, so then that happens. But then a U-53 submarine, it was a Nazi German sub, it shows up in Argentina 2 months after this supposed suicide. And there's no logs whatsoever of what they did for the last 2 months.
2 months.
Yeah, somehow they got out of Nazi Germany and survived for 2 months hidden in the water. So was Hitler on that sub? The FBI actually did an investigation, hundreds of pages, because there was extensive sightings of Hitler. Now, I know Elvis is here, and so is Tupac. It all has sightings, but there's so much more to this. They felt that there was enough evidence that Hitler was still alive, that they actually were doing age progression photographs and drawings of Hitler, what he would look like. So they did like age progression, they did stuff with him.
Yeah, but what are we talking about age progression for how much of a period of time? Not 2 months.
No. This was actually no, because they didn't think they didn't know if they were gonna catch him. So they
seeing what he would look like years down the road.
Right, and
So,
they weren't
2 years,
sending this
5
out
years.
to the papers. This was for them. They were doing this, which came to light later on. So they give him different looks.
Well, there's a lot of
So
room.
if he were to shave his head, shave that little mustache thingy.
There's a lot that he could do because he
Right.
had such a distinct look
Yeah,
that
yeah.
almost any change would make him nearly invisible to the average human being.
Yep.
You know, I mean, they
Hitler, everybody knew who Hitler was back
right
then.
because of his distinct little hair comb and his little cheesy mustache.
So
and
they were trying
yeah.
to just depict what he might look like.
Right.
So, with these different looks and stuff, did he survive after the fall of the Third Reich? Now, our government took many of his scientists, and we talked about this on a conspiracy episode way back when, that Plum Island was used for chemical biowarfare with spreading germs and making viruses and all that stuff. And they took Hitler's scientists. So maybe they let Hitler go in exchange for his life so that they could take his scientists. Or maybe he planned his own death and disappearance.
I don't see why. Yeah,
Well, it's common for terrorists and tyrants to have body doubles. Joseph Stalin had 4 body doubles.
Yeah, actually, most of your leaders worldwide have doubles.
I thought that was just like in TV.
No, well, they do it. It's there's some safety issues involved.
Well, remember in Star Wars, in Clone Wars, I think it was, when the chick, what's her name, Padme or whatever, she was that. She was a body double, and the whole half the movie you thought that was really Princess Leia's mom, and it wasn't. It was Padme, and it was so.
Can you stick that in a program?
Okay, so you guys know what I'm talking about if you saw it. Anyways. Okay, so in 2008, Felix, I think it's Daidov, he came forward and admitted that he was one of 4 of Stalin's doubles to impersonate him. He said that he actually presided over ceremonies and even represented himself as Stalin in country conferences. And Hitler had them too. One was Julius Schreck, and the other was Gustav Fether. And Fether was actually shot by the Soviets, thinking it was Hitler. And for days, they were bragging that they got Hitler until it was found out that it wasn't Hitler. It was one of his doubles. So then let's fast forward to the known suicide story. Russians say that they found that body burned. But later, years later, they show a photo. They start sending out a photo that it was Hitler that they found. And everybody's like, okay, that's not Hitler. First of all, you said his body was burned. Now you're saying this is him. And it wasn't. It was some other double. So they were messing up. I guess, back then the communication was in the 40s and stuff. They didn't have internet.
Right.
So
communication took time.
Yeah. So, they
There's
probably
a lot
didn't
of
think
room
everybody
for
was going to.
changes, mistakes, alterations. Yeah.
In August 1945, President Truman asked Stalin if Hitler was dead, and Stalin said no. It was during a court proceeding. Less than a year later, at the Nuremberg trials, and those were the trials that the purpose was to bring the Nazi war criminals to justice, but the important ones that they wanted, they kept for themselves.
Sure, they use them for their information.
Yep.
Better, probably, I'd have to agree, the information that can be provided by some of these criminals, if you will, is more valuable than their death.
Well, I'm talking about the ones they used at Plum Island.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, who knows what they do with these guys.
You gotta, the things that they know are valuable for helping the future, but.
Yeah, you gotta know the information. You can't just kill them off. Well then, okay, so at these trials, the chief of the U.S. Counsel, Thomas Dodd, stated that no one can say he's dead. So they knew, well, yeah, this was back then, though, in the 40s. After his supposed death, they're saying, no, he's still alive. In 1945, there was an actual radiogram from the FBI, and the radiogram read, "Report Hitler in Argentina," which would make sense because that sub showed up 2 months after this death in Argentina. And then in 1958, 6 X-rays of Hitler's skull are declassified. Not a single one shows evidence of a gunshot wound. So whose skull was this? In 2009, scientists get a hold of the skull that the Russians kept saying was Hitler's. Come to find out, after DNA and stuff, it was a woman's skull. So people are thinking it might have been his wife. he killed his wife so that he could go off to Argentina and do his thing.
That sounds like something he'd do.
Yeah, because he can't be hanging out in Argentina with his wife because now he's got two people. They knew what she looked like too. He can't be, So, people in high places can keep event-changing secrets, and they have the money and the means to do it. And often when power is achieved, people will go to any length to keep it. Others will go to great lengths to take it. So why is this all important? Where are we getting? Okay, so we see how history repeats itself. We got propaganda, agenda, murder, dictatorship, deception. And these tactics represent the past, present, and our future. It's limitless lust for leadership and passion for power globally. So if history repeats itself, we can see how this is going to tie into our future, and they could be doing the very same thing to us now.
Sure.
So, and this is where we get into the MK Ultra. It's the perfect example.
Mind control.
Ooh, that was good. The CIA had this project going, the MK Ultra. It was for mind control. Formed in 1953 by CIA Director Alan Dulles. He used brainwashing techniques like extreme shock therapy, major doses of hallucinogenics, and hypnosis techniques.
Cool.
That sounds like a good time.
A good time. So, not just for patient, but also the staff working on them.
Oh.
Civilians and military, many don't even know that they were a part of it.
Can you imagine that?
It's like, could you just lay down here for just a minute? Relax. Close your eyes, would you please? And you're going to feel a little pinch. No big deal. We're just little random blood test. Make sure that you're healthy. And, it's just 3 days later.
Start dreaming of fuzzy bunnies attacking you and swirlings. One woman was the wife of a Canadian parliament that was part of this. And there was an Army bioweapons expert, Frank Olson, and he took part, probably not purposely, in an LSD experiment. And unfortunately, he fell, or he jumped, from a 10-story building. But his wife was hushed because she got a huge settlement. So, There were 149 different experiments in MK Ultra. Like, one was they were giving people LSD for 174 days straight to see how the body and the mind would react.
Probably not well. Now, all right. Give me a little leeway here. I am not a doctor, nor am I a scientist.
He only plays one on TV.
But my conclusion, just call it, common sense. He didn't do well.
Probably not. 174 days. Or he did great.
Or at least he thought he did great.
There you go. That's wild. Another one they did was they would take both your arms and they put an IV in one arm and shoot you up with barbiturates and another IV in the other arm and give you amphetamines just to see how it would react. And so I'm like, whoa. I'm sure for the first 20 minutes that probably felt awesome, And after that, I have no clue what would happen to that person.
You can fly. I can fly.
Oh, God. Could you imagine?
Splat.
So after 20 years of this, information started leaking out, and the CIA began recon to sort of get rid of the documents and such. But this is where what you were talking about. Approximately 20,000 pages surfaced because they supposedly were mislabeled.
Of course.
But here's the thing, a congressional hearing was made, okay, and then when all this came out. And in 1977, this supposedly was given the kibosh. So I think that they probably found out what they needed to know, or they shut it down and just started something else somewhere else.
Well, we're seeing a lot of that even today where things that were so much hush-hush before, now it's like people used to say, well, the government would never do. You get some of your, I don't want to use the word old-timers, but people who maybe they're 60s, 70s, 80s, who went through World War II and stuff like that, a lot of them would be like, oh, no, the government, the military,
right.
They would never, they're we are the best and this and that. And it's like, okay, I'm a little bit younger than that, and I'm like, really? There's some things going on that, you just...
Yeah. They want to
just
believe
aren't right. They want to
good.
believe, and but there's a lot of stuff going on, and some of it they're like the government spills out and they let go out. And you watched, we mentioned it before a few weeks back about television Hollywood.
Yeah.
And they make movies on this stuff now, and they're making movies that are really talking about future events.
Yeah.
Some of these movies have come to pass, and you look back and go, wasn't there a movie about that? It's
Yeah.
like, you think that's
They
a
had
coincidence? It's
Yeah.
almost like they're poking fun of us, saying, look at what we're going to do to you. And we did it. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, 'cause
Nothing.
They say Hollywood execs and directors and stuff
It's
are
like
really
every-
tied into the Illuminati.
And so you can know all sorts of things about all sorts. And what the reality is, what are you going to do about it?
right.
Suppose
Who's going to fight the government?
Suppose
really?
every single solitary thing we've ever said or talked about ever, or any other conspiratist or anything else like that, is 100% purely true. What are you going to do about it? Nothing.
Yeah, they'll kill
Because
they'll
you
kill
just
your
don't have
family.
the power to do anything.
And if we end up dead, you guys know why.
So, and that's why they, there's probably somebody who knows that we talk about different things. They're like, yeah, so. They're a very small group of nobodies, and nobody cares.
Yeah.
And only unless you are big enough with a big enough mouth and a big enough power will they,
Yeah.
come to do something about it. Otherwise, it's like, so.
Yeah, they don't care. Unless you find out something that they really don't want you to know.
Right. Then all of a sudden, yeah, there's black vans out in front.
Like that
But,
one guy, and I can't even think of his name, but this was years ago. Not too long ago, though. That guy who came out with a bunch of government leaks. And then all of a sudden they said, oh, he was a pedophile in a different country, so he got exported there.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like, really, what a coincidence.
Right, sure.
So they'll take care of who they want to take care of. Otherwise,
because they figure
we're
if
nothing
they
to them.
label this guy as like a pedophile, nobody's going to care.
Right.
It's like, so, he finds out some information, he knows some things, and suddenly he's a pedophile? Really? You think so? But everybody's like, oh, a pedophile, yeah. I'm glad he's gone. But,
Oh,
is
yeah,
he?
because that's...
Was he?
He just
Do
knew
you
what he
really
was
know?
doing.
No, you
No,
don't know.
I doubt
And what are
it,
you going to
too.
do about it?
So I'm wondering with, when they supposedly ended this thing in 1977, the MK Ultra, were those mind control tests successful, and now they just advanced to new mind control experiments? Some say yes, like via the military with making super soldiers, or innocent civilians like that Uber driver who to this day says he got a call, or it was the Uber app or something, and he went nuts and doesn't remember any of it. And then afterwards he was like, I don't know. And I know some guys say, I don't remember, or the devil made me do it, and of course those are just excuses. But you have to really look at all the evidence. Like, does this person really look like they're telling the truth? And do they look scared, confused, look at their history? And so take that stuff into consideration, and there is a handful of stuff that the government's involved in.
Yeah.
There's also carefully selected people due to criminal records, position in society, mass media coverage, or public interest. They'll toy with who they want. And who is that? Is that Cousin Eddie? He believes that he calls them the Hollywood Whackers. What's his name? I can't think of his name, but he says he knows things, and that's why he fled to Canada with his wife. So you never know. So why would they do this? Why would they try all this stuff? They want to push gun control. So if you have a bunch of people that's randomly killing people for no reason, it's the guns, not the people, that are bad. They want to instill fear of terrorism so that we are dependent on the government and we will welcome martial law. That's all part of their agenda.
Yeah. And since the dawn of civilization, power, dictators, governments, militaries have fought to maintain domination over people and enemies. Whatever the reason, pride, greed, fear, they'll do whatever it takes, no matter the cost.
So true. Conspiracy theories.
Conspiracy, man.
Well, they're highly talked about, from weather control to mind control to world power control, and there's countless techniques that have been developed to accomplish that. So let's take example, go back to Robert F. Kennedy's assassination. Now, he was shot at close range at Chicago's Ambassador Hotel by Sirhan Sirhan. Now, Sirhan, he's got two names, he's so cool. He claims he has no memory of doing this. And if you see his video, if you look at the pictures of right after he shot and killed him, he looks almost like he's in a daze, like evil daze, like he doesn't know what's going on. And then when you look at the video of him being interviewed, he doesn't have that glazed look anymore, and he's just like, I don't know what I did, I don't remember nothing. And he looks like a completely different person. Yeah. Now, the doctors actually, they're trying to get a confession out of him. So they put him under a deep state of hypnosis and regressed, and he still didn't recall assassinating Robert Kennedy. So something, they said, was blocking that. And that was not something, they didn't feel that it was something physical because they did what they could. However, back then, certain doctors didn't know that they had these mind control techniques, so they wouldn't be like, well, he's being under mind control.
Right.
So
theories aside, just based off what we know, it is very plausible government agencies could create their own puppet, an assassin or leader.
and I can almost see a parallel. Now, demons get into people's heads and control their minds. What about those same spirits? They could be leading man to do this to their fellow man.
Could be.
Yeah. Is it a coincidence that George Joyantes, he's the chief of the CIA's Psychological Warfare Division, he was checked into that Ambassador Hotel in Chicago when Robert F. Kennedy was shot. Isn't that a coincidence? So he was all part of that. Why was he there? Maybe he was rooming with Sirhan Sirhan. So the Nazis were making these super soldiers, too. They were completely trying to override the free will of their military. When you watch those videos, you always wonder, wow, there's that many crazy people that followed them. But they say that they were, the Nazis were sucking them in and doing these mind control things, you know, Jedi mind control, where they would do the, Hail, Hi, Hitler! And they would hypnotize them and do all these things to get them to just follow them. So you never know. They use drugs and hypnosis, and this is where you wonder if America took over where the Nazis left off. Because at the Nuremberg trials, a decade of mind control experiments come to light. You know, and we talked about the whole Plum Island thing, like I said, in past episodes, but our government recruited Stalin and his scientists for Operation Paperclip. They brought over the Nazi mind control scientists in exchange for full immunity, and their new resumes were paperclip to their photo. That's why it was called Operation Paperclip. And then they were off to work for our government. 1947, the Navy gets involved. They started Project Chatter, and their goal was to develop a truth drug. And then 2 years later, it was found out and shut down. But we now have truth serum, so they probably just shut it down because it was successful. You know, their goal was met.
Make it look. We shut that down. It didn't work.
Right.
But it really did, and we have it.
Yeah. And exactly. So I think that, and then right after that is when the MK Ultra came in, and they were using college students, prisoners, servicemen, political families. They were using radiation.
You know, look how much we were hearing about cloning people and animals, things just not that many years ago.
Right.
And then I know in our state it was kind of like there was a few laws and different things made. It was kind of like, okay, we're not going to be allowed to do this, so you're not going to be able to do that. And all of a sudden, and everybody just shut up about it.
Yeah.
You don't really hear about it anymore, do you?
No, that's true.
Do you really think they stopped?
No.
No, they're doing it more than ever. There could be people cloned running around you don't even realize. How would you know?
I swear that's where these black-eyed children come in.
I mean,
I
how
think that's
would
who it
you
is.
know?
I know some people think it's spiritual. I think
You
it's
really
little
think,
clones.
I mean, when you're a scientist, good, bad, or indifferent, you're in the mode of creating something or doing something, and it's working. You're not going to stop. And those that are supporting you see success in what you're doing, they're not going to stop either.
Right.
I mean, a lot of times when these things get started, in all different forms of medical and science, a lot of times it starts out with a good purpose.
Yeah.
You know, it starts out with, well,
Sure.
this is going to be a good thing. And there's those who are working in the medical field and stuff like that are like, well, you know, they're sincerely trying to do the best they can and do their job. And there's somebody in the backstage that's like, you know what we could do with this?
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. Keep working. You're doing a great job. Okay, I will. And it's like, you're just feeding the enemy and you don't even know it.
And then there's people, too, that they watch and they realize how good they are, and they'll recruit them, and they'll threaten them. They'll threaten their family. You're going to work for us.
I know this is a little off the wall, but remember, like in Terminator, it was a Terminator 2 or 3, when they discovered it was that black guy was a scientist, and he was the one that was coming up with this invention for that, and so they had went back and he basically killed himself with the invention to try to stop what was going to happen in the future. Because he, at the time, didn't realize that what he was doing was wrong.
Right.
Or was going to be used wrong.
Yep.
But it's the same thing for a lot of these people who are part of the science world. They may not recognize what's going on behind closed doors.
Yeah, so when they say they don't have anything to do with it, they probably didn't.
They may not.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, you look at some of this mind control and stuff like that, and you say, Why would anybody do that? Well, if you got enemies going on and you want to capture what's going on in their minds and find out what the enemy is doing, I could see a purpose for being able to control somebody's mind and gather information out of it. But that's not where it ends.
Well, and that's what they said that they were doing testing for. They're not obviously telling us everything they're doing, but that's what they were saying. They're saying that they were testing for that purpose. But, then you've got maybe either it's them or higher-ups that are testing to control the population in future, So with this MK Ultra, they were using radiation, chemical stuff, biological stuff, radiological stuff, employment in clandestine operations. They were using the employees. They were testing the employees.
You got to test somebody.
Yeah. And
How else are you going to know?
And then in the 1950s...
Would you please have this juice?
Kool-Aid. Through the 1960s, there was a medical research team at Yale University. It was headed up by Jose Delgado. He put electronic electrodes in the brains of bulls, primates, and humans. And then he performed experiments with extremely successful results. This is in the 50s and 60s when they were just getting like color TV. This guy's putting little things in brains, and he was controlling them. His long-term goals were to manipulate humans and society. Let me read you a comment.
Oh boy, that's way
Check
back
this
then
out.
too.
This is 50s and 60s. His comment was this, or his statement. The individual may think the most important reality is his own existence, but this is only his personal point of view. This lacks historical perspective. Man does not have the right to develop his own mind. This kind of liberal orientation has great appeal. We must electronically control the brain. Someday armies and generals will be controlled by electric stimulation of the brain.
So that was decades ago.
And right.
Now imagine their capability now. What they can do now. They use
LRADs?
LRADs, which are long-range acoustic devices for crowd control, safety. What about those noises people are hearing all over the world? We've heard them. Bong. Remember that in that
the video.
trumpet sound, too?
Mm-hmm. They sound like trumpets.
Yeah, and no one's ever explained that at all.
No. I'm thinking it's possibly HAARP. And,
Yeah.
And they can plant these volts and sounds in our heads. What can they plant in our ears and eyes? We have no clue of the capabilities or long-term effects of today's technology. I mean, just people like you and I, we don't know.
A trip to the doctor could be devastating.
That's crazy.
Just take the little pill. The little pink one.
Oh, my gosh.
And they're doing it right now in front of our very faces. Maybe not our faces,
No, not you
but
and I.
other,
But, they
other
could be. They could be in our
faces, too
computer.
many places, more than a color. Anyways, like cell phone towers, they emit levels of power that far surpass the requirements of cell phone use.
Yeah, so...
Well, you think about that, and you think, cell phone, I mean, come on, well, wait a minute. I mean, look at what you're able to do on a phone. There's more technology in your little smartphone right now than there was all the world in 1960. With that capability, what are the capabilities of these large towers and all over? What could they do? What are they capable of doing? What else in technology is there that we don't know about? And even the people installing it don't even know.
That's it. We're going off the grid.
That may not help, though, because these towers, whether you're off the grid or not, could be out. They might have the capabilities of sudden... Well, if you want to go into biblical things, some of you out there actually do, all that was created by God was created by an audible sound. Mm-hmm. God spoke. God said. God this. Everything he did was audibly. Everything that was ever done by God was done audibly. So we've learned that audibly, there's a lot of control and power in it. And so audibly, they could learn to control through sounds, signals, waves. I mean, think about a radio. We are able... You people right now are listening to us via waves.
Well, and the Bible also says that the devil is the prince of the power of the air.
Prince of the power of the air. So we have all these waves going on, something we can't even see, and we're able to talk to people from Canada, people from the UK, people... How is that even possible? I mean, 99% of us out there listening right now wouldn't even be able to make a transistor radio built in the 50s and 60s because we don't have a clue as to how to do it. And so all this technology is running around right now, and we think, well, it's just a little tower to send us our signal. Really? What
And
else?
that's why they're trying to dumb down our schools so that we won't advance, because
Right.
they've got their group of people that they want on top.
Well,
and
they
to run
throw
us.
they throw the focus on all these sexual immoralities. They throw our focus on color, race, and entertainment, and all these little things, and they take us away from some other things that maybe we should be thinking about.
Right.
Instead of worrying about what bathroom we should use, maybe we better start worrying about what's going on in our phones, what's going on in our food, in our water, in our air, and stop looking at the liberal agenda of what's best for me, and start saying what's going on for everybody. What is best for who's controlling what here?
Exactly.
It's for we the people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right on, brother. HAARP. Now, it is suspected to be the cause, like you were saying with these high frequencies, of those mass bird deaths, beach marine life, and extreme weather. The High Frequency Active Aurora Research Program. It's in Gakona, Alaska, and it was set up in the 90s as an unclassified research center. And they probably are doing research, but like what? They're bouncing waves through the ionosphere.
Wave bouncing.
Yeah. Back down to the Earth. And experts say that the sound waves being transmitted are the same frequency level as the waves in the human brain. So what are they doing on a mass human level? The biggest threat, though, I would think, is probably the smallest, which is the chip. RFID technology.
We realize the technology and something so small.
Yeah.
I mean, I once again, not to keep repeating myself, but I cannot fathom the amount of technology that's in these little phones.
Oh, I don't get it at all.
I don't understand it. Maybe I can fix a lot of things, but don't ask me to open up that phone and figure out how it works. I have not a clue. And I have a flip phone, and I don't know how it was going to work. I mean, I don't have a clue. And so these little chips and stuff they're able to put into people and identify, what else can they do?
Right.
And these little chips they can put in you can actually adhere themselves into your body in such a way that they become part of you. It's not just like, oh, look, I got a sliver.
Right.
Like a sliver's not part of you.
It can become organic.
A sliver's going to, it can become organic and actually
come onto you, and then you can't, like, you would have to remove your arm to get it out, because you can't remove it once it's in. I mean, not saying that that's going on right now, but that's how they're making
future,
it.
It's
Those were originally created to track pets.
You're not alone.
And farm animals, but they were in our TVs, phones, credit cards, and IDs, and now they are actually in people. It's the size of a grain of rice, and it simply can, control your mind, alter your thoughts, or kill the host. No big deal. If the info in the chip can transmit out, we know it definitely can transmit in.
Hello, works both ways.
Don't take the chip.
Must come out. Never mind.
That sounds like a bathroom issue. Isn't it what goes in, what comes out?
I don't know. That's a rabbit trail. Rabbit trail.
Doesn't it go, what comes up must come down?
No, it's kind of that way, but no, the song.
I don't know.
What goes up, what must come down.
Well, I'm just saying people...
Spinning wheels, got to go round.
That's good.
Yeah.
You're rocking out
Anyways.
tonight.
Well, we know that they have it. Oh, we know.
And now
we just don't know what they're doing with it now, do we? If the idea of the government controlling our minds seems far-fetched, maybe that's exactly what they want you to think. Yep. You can say, oh, you guys, come on, wake up, smell the coffee. No, I say you wake up and you smell the coffee. Because Folgers in your cup, yeah.
With knowledge comes power. The power to protect yourselves. Don't say we didn't.
That's why I wear a helmet, so them rays can't get me.
like Magneto.
Magneto, that's why he wears it.
We need him.
You see, TV telling us what to do.
And
we all have to have Magneto helmets.
M. Night Shyamalan's movie Signs, where they had the tinfoil on their head. You remember
That's
that?
right.
For the
used
aliens?
to work for the rabbit ears on your TV.
Uh-huh.
Tinfoil, hello.
But that won't work now, because you know why? Because the government now controls the TV, the rabbit ear things.
Think about Illuminati, aluminum foil.
Ooh.
See?
We need it. We need aluminum foil on our head. So
the Illuminati foil.
Scott and I are going to make aluminum foil hats
We are.
And we're going to take a picture of it
Yes.
for you guys to see us so you know what to wear and how to make your own.
To
And-
protect yourself from them.
And then we're going to start a religion.
Yes. Follow us. We know the truth.
Okay,
All
I think
right.
it's
Maybe
time
not.
to do our rock and reject.
All right.
Right about now, you're about to be possessed.
Hit it.
All right, so tonight, what rocks in our rock and reject segment? A Burger King in Finland has a group sauna. It also has a laundry room, a dressing room, and a 48-inch TV and a PS4. And now, a 15-person sauna. KFC has edible nail polish in Hong Kong. So,
KFC.
yeah. So I
What's
just...
nail polish got to do with chicken?
I don't know. Well, do they even eat chicken in Hong Kong? I
No,
don't
they
know.
get the dogs and cats.
Yeah, so, but I was thinking that we should go to Finland and hang out in a group sauna while we're eating a Whopper.
I think so.
Isn't that
Yeah,
cool?
yeah, they got it going on.
I don't know. I really could sit in a fast food restaurant eating, in a sauna, but I just think that's so cool. They got a laundry
You want
room.
another Whopper? Heck yeah.
Wait, what kind of Burger King needs a laundry room? I mean,
Well, I know that some of the restaurants, as you go around the chain around the world, whether it be McDonald's or Burger King, whatever, they don't all do things exactly the same. They have different menus, different things.
there's some states now in
Yeah.
the United States that have a Whopper tortilla. It's the Whopper and a tortilla thing.
Might be good.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Sounds like a bathroom waiting to happen.
How about the reject story?
All right.
Now, people are worshiping Saint Death.
Oh, great.
They're leaving money and offerings to
Effigies of skeletons. This is in
effigies
Mexico.
of Mexico, bringing their babies to it and blessing it.
They're doing
say,
what is that called? The cross thing where
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Father,
that's-
Son, Holy Spirit.
yeah, right.
So yeah, that's
they're doing that. They're
uh-huh.
crossing. And they say people shouldn't judge them because they have a lot of faith in this saint of death, who is a female, by the way. She comes to make sense of anguish, pain, violence, and death. They go to altars of skulls, surrounded by pictures of skulls, around statues of skulls.
Isn't that ridiculous?
Well, it takes all kinds.
Here's the thing: if you're going to worship something, it should not be death, and it should not be a skull. And if someone's going to help you have peace through these things, it's not going to look like death. I mean, and they're mixing.
Obviously, if you're worshiping these skulls, they didn't make it.
Well, they're mixing Christianity.
They're already dead.
First of all, it's a Saint Death, and I'm like, what is going on? There are some crazy things going
There
on in
is.
this world.
Indeed, it gets crazier every year. Well, that's it, pair of peers. So until next week, it's the same time, it's the same place. When you want the crazy truth in your face.
Hey, this is Heidi from Talk Supernatural. You know I like to talk, so let's keep the confab hot. Follow us on Twitter at TSR Parapod. And check out our Facebook page, Talk Supernatural Podcast. We air for you, so hit us back. We'd love to hear what you think of the show, too, so email us, talksupernatural@gmail.com, and we'll give you a shout-out on air.
Check out more from Talk Supernatural Radio. Head over to tsradio.net. You can listen to TSR on iTunes, Spreaker, TuneIn, and YouTube. If you have any questions or would like to know more on spiritual afflictions, hauntings, demonic influence, check out Scott and Heidi's SWAT resource site at EP612SWAT.com.
This world's a tortured place to be. So many things to torment me. And as I stumble down this road, it takes a toll. I need an intervention. But I can see it coming. Some things just can't be explained.
And that's all, folks.